Good afternoon. On behalf of our team at RDIC, we would like to welcome Jacqueline Abrahamson and Chris McNabb. They're here this afternoon to discuss the type of work they do, the training they receive, the characteristics they're looking for in a candidate, the career opportunities, the interview process, salary expectations, and the working conditions. Just a reminder before we begin that after you watch this presentation, please complete the survey found on our website, either by using the QR code or going to www.rdic.ca. By completing the survey, you're automatically entered to win a $50 gift card, which will be drawn for at the end of every month. So again, thanks again to Jacqueline and Chris for their informative presentation to help students in their quest to make a better choice about their future employment opportunities. Take it away.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much for having us. My name is Jacqueline, and I have Chris along with me that we're going to be doing a presentation for you.
Hello, everybody.
So what we're going to be talking about today is we're going to go over a little bit an overview of SaskTel, the different departments at SaskTel, engineering jobs at SaskTel, our data centers, towers, SaskTel's hiring process, the purpose of an interview, cover letter and resume tips, preparing for the interview, general career tips, and a little bit about scholarships. So what is SaskTel? So we are an information communication technology company. We consist of business and consumer products and services. We used to be the old telephone company, but we have grown into much more, that we're offering more business and consumer products and services. We are a government-owned Crown corporation within Saskatchewan, and we have approximately 3,800 employees, and that is throughout Saskatchewan, not just in Regina and Saskatoon, but throughout the whole province. And we have a very strong customer experience culture. We were founded in 1908, so we are over 110 years old. So SaskTel is a unionized environment. So what is a union? So what a union is they represent the collective interests of the workers by negotiating wages, hours of work, and working conditions. Unifor is the union that SaskTel is part of. It is Canada's largest private sector union with more than 310,000 members across the country. And jobs are awarded to the most senior person who is actually qualified for positions within a unionized environment within SaskTel. So what a union is that there is a huge book. It's called a collective agreement book, and both management and in-scope employees have to follow these rules, okay? And that lays out all the wages, hours of work, working conditions, anything that pertains to working within SaskTel. So there are many different departments at SaskTel. There's customer service operations, business sales and solutions, technology, so that's where our engineering folks fall under, information systems division, corporate strategy brand division, so that's like our marketing, human resources and corporate services, consumer sales and solutions, corporate counsel and regulatory affairs. There's finance, corporate communications, and fiber to the prem. So those are the main departments at SaskTel. As you can tell, we have a couple of pictures. We are not just a company, but we also like to have fun at our work as well. So we do some dress up days for different holidays. We have Pink Day as well that we support. So we're just a fun group and a great environment to be part of. So what this slide is showing is that if you are looking at any job within SaskTel, all jobs are really connected. So we have everything from HR, so human resources is where Chris and I work, hiring those folks in. But you know what? We need people to be working together to get our products. So such as Max TV, we have the programmers who are, getting those Max TV boxes programmed for people to use them. We have the technicians hooking up these services to buildings, to businesses, to homes. We have the sales reps selling those products. We have marketing, making sure our ads are being seen by folks. We have nurses actually working at SaskTel who need to make sure that the employees who are doing, installs and working at SaskTel, they are fit to work for their position. We have shop technicians helping out with the different products and making sure that our warehouses are stocked with them, making sure they're getting to their appropriate places. Shipper receivers, they're helping out those shop technicians, getting all the inventory to the right places. We have engineers, making sure programming helps with those programmers to make sure that technology is being used properly and it's working properly, as well as the service techs. If there are any problems, you're calling into SaskTel.com to get any troubleshooting that you need help with in order to make sure your Max TV box is working. So those are just an example of like how all the positions at SaskTel, we work together to make sure our products are the best and making sure our business is running smoothly. So Chris, I'm going to hand it over to you to talk about engineering at SaskTel.
Sure. So as Jacqueline mentioned, my name is Chris McNabb. I'm a staffing manager at SaskTel. I primarily hire for technology and information systems departments. So I'll start things out here just by telling you a little bit about the engineering at SaskTel. The types of roles we hire, typical types of education we're looking for, and what does an engineer do at SaskTel. So I have a bit of an overview to go through there. So some of the typical positions we hire for: engineering assistant provisioning. This is an in-scope role. We typically hire into the technology department. Engineering assistant facilities management. We hire those positions into corporate services. You'll see a little later on the towers group. We hire quite a bit for facilities management. Then obviously engineers for out of scope and management roles. They're hired into a lot of different departments at SaskTel. And then we have information systems technicians. So those are more of our technical positions, and we hire them into the data center. So typical types of education we're looking for: 2-year diplomas in electronics, computer science, or electrical engineering. We also look for civil engineering. Another 2-year diploma we look for quite a bit is in computer systems or business information systems. So Sask Polytech actually has a pretty good course that we hire a lot of candidates from. So that's the BIS program. Quite a bit of positions we have for programmer analysts and engineering roles as well. And then obviously the bachelor's, 4-year bachelor's degrees we're looking for: electrical, electronics, computer science, and software systems has been another program we're starting to see a lot more interest in. So what do engineers do at SaskTel? So engineers are typically the highest level subject matter experts, or the SMEs as we call them. They work with strategic planning teams to shape corporate direction. They work with marketing and sales teams to design, build new services, work with operations to implement, maintain, and support services. They also work with IT to deploy applications that are components of services. They work on design, implementation, and support of critical network management systems. And they work with sales teams as well. So they're the pre-sales technical consultants. And often they work with technology vendors as well. So that gives you kind of a little bit of an overview for engineers. We'll jump into the next slide. So this next slide just shows you a little bit about our data center. So I'll talk to that a bit, but you can see here, I believe this is probably a data center in Regina. You've got information systems tech there in the picture, or a tech analyst. But the first SaskTel data center was opened in the 1960s. So after many years of supporting our own IT functions, SaskTel extended these capabilities to our customers, offering them access to a world-class facility. SaskTel has been providing data center services to customers for over 13 years, and today hosts government, corporate, and private customers basically throughout the world, or North America. So SaskTel currently has data centers in Regina, Saskatoon, and White City. And SaskTel data centers offer a secure environment to house your network, server, and storage infrastructure. So in these centers, we offer stable, redundant power, cooling, and UPS power supply. So essentially what a data center does is helps keep the world connected. So helps ensure all services are available when we need them. So for example, if you do online shopping, social media, everybody uses social media now, paying your bills online, managing your banking, investments, phone services, anything to do with cell, voicemail, and texting. So it gives you a pretty good idea of how important the data centers really are. Okay, so we'll move into the next slide. So this next slide just kind of talks about our towers group and our corporate services group. As I mentioned before, some of our engineering assistants we hire specifically into this group. So SaskTel has over 1,000 structures, with 3/4 of them being towers. Essentially what the towers do is they provide the link between the customer and their network. So towers are strategically placed within cities, rural centers to optimize the network's capabilities and performance, while also having a minimum impact to community and surrounding areas. So SaskTel uses 3G and 4G, soon to be 5G, along with other networks such as co-locating other vendors such as RCMP, public safety, and 911. So typically, an engineering assistant in the towers group would perform tasks such as site audits to confirm tower loading, any maintenance issues, build and award tender documents, monitor, supervise construction sites. So that's a big thing that these assistants do, is they sort of project manage as well. Site layout, surveying, manage projects and align budget, pay invoices, climb, inspect towers. So obviously that's a big part of this role. A successful candidate can't be afraid to climb the towers. Tower maintenance and review tower drawings. So yeah, that gives you a pretty good idea of some of the engineering positions at SaskTel.
Excellent, thanks, Chris. So SaskTel hiring process. So we always say apply for the vacant jobs on SaskTel.com careers. There are 2 sections you could put your resume in. There's one that's called current opportunities. So that is what we are hiring for right now, as well as future opportunities. So we can pull resumes from those pools when we need to. So what we always state is make sure you include a cover letter and a resume. It may take a couple weeks, 2 to 6 weeks after the closing date before you are contacted. And remember, we only contact candidates moving on to the next phase in the hiring process. Correspondence from SaskTel is usually done by email or by phone. So just make sure you're always checking when you're applying to make sure your phone number is up to date, and checking your email too, just to make sure that we're getting a hold of you somehow. Staffing process for each position does vary. So for different positions, there could be an online test, there could be a case analysis, a presentation, simulations, as well as an interview, either face-to-face or virtual right now. We do our hiring interviews through Microsoft Teams. So what we say is how to apply is just going to SaskTel.com careers. As you can see here, we have the current opportunities section as well as the future opportunities. We also have student opportunities as well for students that are in post-secondary to apply for summer positions, as well as there's scholarships that you can apply for as well for when you are in grade 12 going into post-secondary, just under the student opportunity section. So definitely take a look at those. So the purpose of an interview. Interviews are used by almost all employers everywhere. So SaskTel, the purpose of a job interview is to make sure that for us, we assess your knowledge, your skills, your ability for the job, as well as to gain insight into your personality and your style. We want to make sure you're a right fit for SaskTel, as making sure that, you know what, you want to make sure you're a right fit for SaskTel as well. And for you to express why you are a great candidate to determine if the company and position is a good fit for you. So that is the purpose of an interview. It doesn't matter where you're going to be interviewing for. That's what we're looking for. So resume and cover letters. So if you did have any education from outside of Canada, you want to make sure that you have education equivalency attached to that. And that would be either an IQUAS, a WES, or an ICAS. And you just make sure you state that on your resume. Remember to tailor your cover letter and your resume to any of the job posting. So when you're looking at a job posting, take a look at the qualification section. So that is where you're wanting to pull information that you want to tailor your resume to. So just make sure you're looking at those qualifications to make sure you're meeting them as well, to make sure you are eligible for that position. We always recommend to update your resume and your cover letter each time you apply for any type of job. Format it so it's very easy to read. Make it, concise and to the point. So, if you have a position that you're talking about or any work experience, 4 to 6 bullets of what you did with that position is good enough. We really want you to stay within that 2 pages maximum if possible. And remember to use spell check and grammar. And also to contact your references to say, hey, I am applying for a position. So just in case I do need to get a hold of you for references, making sure that their contact information is up to date too. So that's going to save you in the long run. Preparing for the interview. So ensure your contact information and references are up to date. Always save a copy of the job description from the website. That doesn't matter what any company you're applying for, make sure you save that because that's a good reference for you to have. That's also going to help you when you're preparing for the interview. So you can make sure that you're looking at those qualifications and that job description to make sure, if they're talking about customer service, you can actually explain how you have a great customer experience to that company. Make sure that you are prepared. So make sure you do some background checking on the company that you are applying for. Check out their website. That's going to help you understand the company a little bit more, and it shows to the employer that you've actually done some research too. Practice questions with someone in advance. Even if you Google interview questions, that's going to help you in the long run to prepare for any type of interview. So make sure you take some time to prepare some interview questions. As I stated before, do research on the company. Remember, always dress appropriately for the interview. What we always suggest is always dress one step higher for that position you're applying for. Also, stay away from scented products just because a lot of people do have allergies. If you are having a face-to-face interview, turn your cell phone off or on vibrate for your interview. We do understand that, things happen and you might need to have your cell phone on because you are expecting a very important call for some reason. But remember just to let those interviewers know that, hey, my cell phone is on, I might be expecting a call. Interviewers understand, life happens and if you need your cell phone on, just explain to them why. And another thing to do is prepare questions for after the interview. So you want to have some questions for those interviewers, either about the company or about something that you read in the job description. Just make sure that you have something for them too, because that always shows that you are prepared for your interview. What we like to suggest for anybody preparing for their job interview, when you are answering any type of interview questions, stick to the STAR method. So what a STAR method is that you're going to explain the situation. So that gives a brief description of the situation you'll be using for your example. The task, so what you specifically did rather than the rest of the team, what you were doing or your specific objective of your example, the action, so that action you took to address the situation, including your decision-making process and the alternatives you considered, and the result and the end result of what your action was. So what impact did it have on the business? What did you learn? And always try to leave it on a positive. We understand that some questions don't always have a positive outcome, but that is your chance to give an example of this is what I learned and what I could do differently next time. So getting your foot in the door at SaskTel. So there are many different ways you can do this. For students, we always recommend applying on any of our summer jobs as well as our co-op jobs. 90% of co-op students that were co-op students usually end up being SaskTel employees later on. So we do have a really good return on investment when we are investing on students working for us. So another way that you can get your foot in the door is through the different positions such as a service technician or our sales and service representatives in our call centers, as well as our customer service technicians. These guys are the ones out doing the hookups for our services. For those positions, we do require a level 30 math, a valid driver's license. Any internet support experience is great too. We do also ask for 20 words a minute for your typing and any sales and customer service experience. And just make sure you're noting all that kind of stuff on your resume. So some career search advice, we always say display a positive and professional attitude in any position or any interview you're going in for. Have patience. It may take a few times before you get a call back. Just remember, we have so many people applying for SaskTel positions, and you know what? If we only have 3 positions and we have 100 people that have applied on it, we do need to make sure that we are picking the best person for the job. And it might not be you the first time, but definitely apply in the future because these positions do come up quite a bit. And to avoid frustration, apply for those jobs that you are qualified for. And only those candidates who are selected will be contacted. So that's just a little piece of advice from our end with SaskTel. You can connect with us in many different ways. You can check us out at sasktel.com/careers on our website. We are on Twitter as well as LinkedIn. And if you have any other questions, you can just email us directly at sasktel.careers@sasktel.com. And that is the end of our presentation. Any questions?
First of all, I'd like to thank you so much for this very awesome presentation. Just to have that whole outlook or that whole overview of SaskTel and the many positions that are offered was very well appreciated. And this last portion specifically on the whole resume and interviewing process is something all students should definitely hear, and we will definitely promote it like that. I did have a question about summer employment. So when would a student in high school apply specifically for a summer job with SaskTel? When would you recommend, if there were positions, when would they get posted and when would they apply?
Definitely. So with high school students, unfortunately, we do not have a lot of those positions. With our main summer program, it is only offered to post-secondary. So they do need to be in post-secondary in order to apply for those. And those positions get posted around mid-December and they close usually around middle of February.
That being said there, Jacqueline, just to add in, I believe with our program, if we had students in grade 12 that were registered full-time for the fall, could they still apply, Jacqueline?
Unfortunately, no, not with our main.
First year? Okay.
Yeah, they have to be a first year, but I do know we partner with some of the high schools that have electronics program that we do sometimes offer high school summer positions too, and they do need to be in those certain electronics programs.
Awesome, thank you so much for that clarification.
Yes.
Awesome, we have another question here.
Yeah, with the changes in technology, we're always hearing about new job descriptions, new knock codes that are being added and some that are being taken off. Are there new and I guess career opportunities that are coming up at SaskTel just due to technology changes?
Yeah, I would say, you know, in the technology department, software systems and programming skill sets, it seems to be coming on to job descriptions a lot more. I seem to be hearing from clients, you know, look for candidates to have, you know, basic programming, idea of software and telecom. I mentioned a little bit earlier as well, Project management and leadership skill. That's something that we're really looking for in candidates. So anything that, you know, a candidate can start to take with regards to project management, any certifications, that type of thing will be really useful, you know, when they're applying for permanent positions later on. What we're always trying to look for is a candidate who can succession plan into like a management role or a supervisory role as well. So it just makes the candidate a lot more diverse later on for the company.
Awesome, thank you. One more question. We know that a lot of companies have had to readjust their whole work life because of COVID. How has that affected SaskTel specifically?
I can jump in here, Jacqueline. I think that, you know, SaskTel overall has adjusted really well. In our department specifically, and many others, you know, it seemed to be, you know, just a matter of getting processes in place that were paperless, more virtual. But I think overall the business is striving in many areas. Work-life balance is still really great. And, you know, we do have some different processes in place to allow for more virtual type of training and obviously work experience too. Is there anything else you want to add there, Jacqueline?
I think you covered everything. Even what Chris said is that even as an example in our department, we are doing interviews not a lot face-to-face anymore. Everything is virtual. So it's helping with the manager's time, and just it's quicker and easier for the candidates too.
For sure.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Okay, again, thank you very much, Chris and Jacqueline, for doing this for us. I really appreciate all of your work, and I'm sure the students will really get a lot from this. So thank you very much.
Great.
Perfect. Thanks for
very
having
much.
us.